To the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, would the secretary perform a roll call attendance, please? Here.
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 Present. Here. Here.
Here. Okay. All the board members should have received the minutes from the June 2nd meeting. If there's no questions or concerns for the secretary, entertain a motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, so our first item on the agenda this evening is Sitco amended site plan.
Good evening.
Evening.
So since the last time we were here, we resubmitted a set of plans per the board's request.
Could you introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Mark Dumble. I'm with S&K Petroleum Wholesalers.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. To have the existing plan. An updated proposal. This stayed the same. Oh, no, it didn't. We updated the canopy. So if you will notice, it's now a colonial-style canopy with no signage onto it. So we're doing away with the Sitco style. Floor plan stays the same as previous. A photometrics plan. I did talk to our engineer today, and we are going to change the lighting in the existing yard lights, and he will have an updated photometrics to show the marrying of those, and also to deal with the 4,000 and stuff like that versus the 3,000. So all that stuff will be addressed. Also in here, we showed the mountable curb that the board was requesting. So we put that in. The engineer is working on, he does show a little bit further on in the details here. Maybe it was in, no, I'm sorry, the other way. So he's got a little relabeling to do. So there's a sidewalk with glass plot. That's not a sidewalk. He'll change this to the curbing. So this is the curbing detail that's going to go right around here. We are going to change the mountable curb, not to have a gutter into it, just a standard mountable curb to go around there, and we will address that. We did look into the suggestions by the board of adding the dispenser, the second one up here in this area. The problem with that is by doing that,
I can't see where you're pointing.
if we go to the existing conditions, and they were talking about possibly adding a dispenser up here, okay? The problem with doing that is a couple-fold. Is that's going to kill the parking right here. This would also, if there's any staging, kill the parking in front. And then more importantly, when the tractor trailer was leaving and other customers leaving, there's no real exit to get back onto 9. So there would be much more than existing now or proposed of jockeying to get to this lower lane to get out. So the safest and best way still is, as we're proposing, to do these angled 3 dives right in through here. We also have our traffic consultant, Mr. Lee Klein, and then he'll walk you through the traffic. Oh, we also included the landscaping. And,
My name is Lee, middle initial D as in Daniel, Klein, K-L-E-I-N. I'm a professional engineer in the state of New York. I'm also a nationally certified professional traffic operations engineer. I've been accepted as an expert in traffic engineering in the city of Yonkers, as well as Hempstead, Long Island, and Port Washington, it was Village of Manor Haven. So I'm going to go through the exhibits that we prepared. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, right, gotcha, all right. Okay. So what I'm showing in this exhibit is when the tanker truck is in its position to drop the fuel, I heard earlier, we rearranged the parking a little bit, so we've got our ADA parking space in front of the front door. We've got 3 perpendicular parking spaces right in front of the store, and the vehicle, the tanker truck is going to position itself above the tanks, the underground storage tanks, to drop fuel. It takes about 15 or 20 minutes to drop the fuel. The only time that this maneuver is ever going to have to be made is when somebody enters Old Hopewell Road, the tanker truck is in this position dropping fuel for 15 or 20 minutes, and when they come around the corner, all 5 of these are occupied, and they have to get to that one. So that 3 things have to happen for this maneuver to have to be made, but I'm showing that it can be
So
made.
let me just stop one second. So no matter what, so if somebody's coming off of Old Hopewell, all right, and somebody's looking to get out onto Old Hopewell, there's always going to be that crossover, because whoever's coming in is going to want to go to basically, the west, which is at the bottom of your page. So they're going to always want to go there to line up with the pumps. And then if somebody's looking to get out, in the other direction to Old Hopewell, then they're always going to be crossing that same path.
Yes.
You just understand where I'm coming from?
You're saying this bottleneck in here? If
I'm saying
some-
that path right there, exactly, that
right.
path there, so that somebody's always, if they want to go out of Hopewell, you're always going to have that crossover, and
No, only when the tanker truck is here and somebody
even when
has
the
left
tanker
here.
truck is not there,
Somebody's going to come in,
because they're always going to want to come down
and when they
to
leave, they
get
go
in
out.
line to get to the pump, correct?
Right, they come in this way and get in line for one of 6
Right.
positions. When they're ready to leave, they go back out, and they go to the driveway and make a right
Like a
turn.
figure-8 racetrack. They'd have to cross each other's paths, incoming and outgoing.
Right,
mean?
Right.
right, but based on the volume of traffic coming in and out of the Hopewell Road site, I don't believe it'll be a high number of.
I understand. Listen, currently, it's an issue. I don't know what the answer, I don't know if there's an answer to it.
Right, it doesn't-
I want to make it clear, though, but regardless if the tanker truck is there, it's still going to be an issue unless there's some type of, some way to kind of relieve that somehow.
Well, I mean, if today, they're oriented they're parallel to Route 9 when they're getting their fuel. If somebody were to come in, maneuver themselves, so they're facing to go back out Old Hopewell Road, yes, they're doing that today. They have to go out, whether it's this side and then this guy is coming in this way, they have to cross somewhere.
I have a
So
question. So if someone is coming in from Old Hopewell Road, they have to go to the west to get a line to get into those stalls.
As if, right, just like somebody coming
There
in.
is congestion in that parking lot, whether someone's pulling out onto Hopewell Road or if there's already queuing from Route 9, that person coming in from Old Hopewell Road will have no choice but to go, just to keep going into the site. What happens then? How do they recirculate to try to find a spot if they can't immediately go west?
Then they'd have to make that turn to come back in. You're saying to come back? If there's, I mean, yeah, don't see that happening. Based on my observations out there today, there were 4 cars at one time. Maybe there was a 5th.
That gets
Place
packed,
gets
place, yeah.
Very popular, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were out there,
But that's going to be relieved by adding the extra
I think
50% more
everybody
pumps.
agrees. It's a difficult situation out there now, and you're the idea is that adding an additional
Fueling
queuing
positions, yeah.
will reduce the queuing. The question just is, if this is set up basically as a one-way coming in.
Correct.
So if someone can't make that left down west to get aligned
Right.
to properly get into those stalls, they're
Right.
going to have to go over top of the stalls. Otherwise, they're just going to stay. They're going to just stay in that intersection.
They'll wait here until one frees up, you're saying?
You only how much space do you have for someone to wait there and
You've got-
queue from Old Hopewell? And is that going to block the people trying to get out from Old Hopewell? My point is, you
Only
have one
when the
shot.
tanker truck
Once-
is there.
Once you're in, not just if there's
Somebody's
congestion at the intersection. So if you have someone only has one shot to get in there and make that maneuver to get into the stall, because if they go over top, they can't really go back around because it's a one-way and
Yeah.
the circulation doesn't really allow for that.
Right.
Unless Old Hopewell became one-way in, and that's it, and no exit onto Old Hopewell. Everybody exited onto Route 9 northbound.
But you still have the issue at Route 9 there, if there's a few cars coming in, if there's a, a line there, how do you address that?
Well, when they come in from Route,
Yeah, they back up onto Route 9 here and there.
but there'll be 50% more fueling positions when this is built.
so you'll have one less line also, because you wouldn't be able to utilize a
Right.
queuing line off of Old Hopewell now, because everybody's going to know they're going to have to go off of Route 9 to get into that queue to get to those pumps.
They can they can use the right turn only lane and get in this way.
Sure.
You're
So when you were
creating-
out there today, did you see queuing off of Old Hopewell?
No, no. Oh, queuing on the road itself, yeah. Is that what you're talking about? Coming in? No, actually, I don't even think I saw anybody come in that way for
All right,
the half an hour.
I
I was there.
pulled
They all came in.
there was 2 cars queued up, and you were standing at the end of the parking lot talking to him. So there's queuing there.
2 cars waiting here, not here.
No, here and there.
Here?
Yep. Well, I was behind a white truck before I decided to pull in to get a coffee.
Right.
So there was queuing there when you were there. So,
They were here.
no, they were
waiting.
Okay, I was behind it, so I know there was queuing there.
All right.
But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that when you lose that queuing line, okay?
Right.
Everybody's going to have to make a decision either to go off of Old Hopewell or off of Route 9, meaning go down and wait off of Route 9, or just not go, right?
Correct.
So even though you're getting 50% more pumps is what you're saying, or 2 more pumps, you're losing a line for people to queue up, because right now they're queuing up in both places.
Yes.
So they're still going to build up off Route 9, which is going to back up Old Hopewell even farther.
I see what he's saying. Now everyone is in one line instead of 2 lines.
And now everybody that's turning just for the sake of turning and not going to the gas station is going to have to wait even longer, because the queuing line is going to back up Old Hopewell. What that's creating is you're losing a turning lane on Old Hopewell. That's what it's causing.
Because that
If-
lane right there
if
is a right
traffic
turning lane.
queues up from the gas station out onto Old Hopewell Road.
No, because everybody's going to know they can't go off of Old Hopewell now. Me looking at this, I know I'm never going to get a pump going
Right.
off of Old Hopewell. I'm going to have to go down and around.
Right.
So everybody that would normally queue up in front of the store
Right.
will now have to go and wait online to go queue up exactly.
Right.
So
And there's
yes.
more positions.
There is, but you're losing the queuing line. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's more.
No, I understand, but there's more traffic, I believe, more traffic feeding the site from Route 9 than there is from Old Hopewell Road, because it's primarily a convenience use. People go on their way home from work, their way to work, their way home from shopping, to shopping, things like that. So when I was a kid, Dad said, let's go take a ride and get gas, but not anymore. People don't do that. So it's 80-something% pass by. So if people are already on the road and they see, when they're here, they see, oh, I can't get in, then they'll continue around, but there'll be the ability to have 6 fuel and I believe 6 queue up behind them, which is better than what we have now. Really, we have just 4. And then because it's sort of one-way oriented, if the 5th and 6th car are there, it's blocking the access coming in from the Route 9 driveway. So by spreading it out and putting it at this angle, we're making it a one-way orientation, and we're encouraging people to come in the Route 9 entrance and then line up that way. And when they're ready to leave, they make the turn.
A good question is to see how many customers are actually getting gas as of right now to, compare it to when you actually put in 6 pumps. Is the 6 pumps going to alleviate the problem of how busy this gas station is right now? Or is it just going to create more of a desire for more customers to come in and still deal with the same problem?
I think it's going to create a problem. I think that it's going to create where people are not going to want to go in, to be honest with you. I mean, that's if I'm coming down Old Hopewell and I'm looking down at the light and seeing cars queued up to go into that lane, I'm just going to go straight through the intersection and go right down to the new one that's being built in Houstonville when I go down 90. That's it.
And that's the idea of a convenience use. If it's not convenient for you, you'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, but it's the people that go in there and then they try to make maneuvers to get out of there. That's what it is. If you don't close, let's say if you closed off the old Hopewell entrance altogether, you had the one in, one out off of 9, that might resolve some of the issue. But if you still leave that exit on Old Hopewell and people want to get back to that exit, your circulation path, again, as you leave the pump and then you have to go back around the bottom to get back over to Old Hopewell Road.
Yeah.
You only have, one lane width there, so you don't have 2 where cars could pass one another. So if you have somebody coming in that's going to go to the north, that's going to try to go to the pump, and then you have somebody going and heading towards the south to turn around, to make it back to Old Hopewell, they're going to be sitting there, looking at each other, unable to go because one won't be able to pass the other.
The Old Hopewell Rose the Old Hopewell entrance is needed because it does allow people that aren't utilizing gas to go in, still get access right to the store, and then bang right out.
Correct, yes, that's what I was going to try to point to that. You come in, you get right back out, you don't even deal with the gas.
So maybe if there was signage that at least promoted people using the pumps to use the Route 9 access at Old Hopewell.
I mean, the visibility from this position is good. If you see that it's queued up, you know to go around, like you said, right? You said that that's what you would do.
Even if it's not queued up, just, I do think it's problematic that someone that's pulling into that site
Right.
has to pretty much immediately start, maneuver to the west to get themselves oriented to get into that. And I think a lot of people are going to pull in and overshoot it. At least, the regulars won't, obviously, but people coming in, they're going to come in and overshoot it and then either try to awkwardly back into it or try to pull around, and you're going to start dealing with some awkward maneuvers in there with people trying
Then
to
they
deal
have
with
to deal with the people coming off of Route 9.
Right, exactly. So if you limited it to the people that are using the pumps, limited their access to Route 9, that really does alleviate it. And the access from Old Hopewell should, if that's really just geared toward people using the convenience store.
The other thing is,
There's only so much you can force with signage, but at least if
That's my thing.
you're advertising and showing
Your
like,
concern is not with the regulars, your concern is with somebody who's not familiar with this parking lot. Those are also likely the people to miss those signs.
You could also
Ignore
make
that.
Old Hopewell,
everyday people, so,
what if you made Old Hopewell a right turn in only, no exit, that forces everybody to go out the other way? That way you don't have the
I agree with that.
congestion issue
Right,
there.
yeah.
And then the dump out where it backs up.
That exit onto Old Hopewell Road's been a pain in the neck for 30 years.
You can't make the left there anyway.
You can't, but you make it right.
No. I'm saying people coming from Old Hopewell can enter the site here, but there's no exit anymore.
I mean, I wouldn't, like you said, the convenience people now have to deal with getting over here somehow and getting out. It's just as easy for them, right in, right out. And it's repeat customers. They get used to, I'm coming in to get coffee, and I'm getting right back out. On my way home, I'm going to make the U-turn, come in, get gas, and go.
yeah, what it does, it limits
Right.
people from continuing down Old Hopewell or going
I don't think
going
there's
south.
exiting onto Old Hopewell Road at all.
Yeah.
Because people that want to go south on Route 9, it backs that whole parking lot up, because it takes them forever to
Is
get
there
out.
like traffic studies that when you go through this like this, like that you actually start looking at times and when cars building up, how many, and
Well, there's traffic studies out there. I mean, there's stuff out there, but we'd have to get a hold of something or have them submit something to us. But then on the other end, we'd have to get somebody on our side, on our side of the table to do the review of the traffic analysis. I mean, and I'm assuming Malcolm we still have people in your office that would be able to do a full analysis of whatever gets dismissed, yeah.
I would love to figure out, I've given several options trying to make this work. I do not feel comfortable that this is going to work.
I mean, my biggest concern is just the internal circulation around everything. That's really I said, a lot of conflicting, paths there.
There's only one
trying to get- the
conflicting
people
path.
trying to get in and- right.
It's just this, it's just
trying to
this
get in and
cross
out,
here. That's
yeah.
the only conflicting path, is that one in there.
And we got to remember, like, as it stands today, we do not have a perfect world out on this facility. I mean, we saw so many cars doing K-turns and.
Yeah.
and moving
Right, you have that all that.
Moving around to get to
Yeah.
the other side of the gas pump, because that's where their tank's at, and this is what exit. At least this way, we're forcing them into a one-way kind of.
Can you use
a
the
lot more.
microphone? I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm done.
So, like I said, this is only going to happen when the tanker truck is there, somebody's entering from Old Hopewell, and these 5 fueling positions are full.
Yeah, I mean, the tanker truck is one thing. I mean, I get that's a window of time.
Yeah, half an hour at the most.
Once a week, twice a week, whatever the case may be. But, at the end of the day, it's when the tanker truck's not there, again, like I say, if some circulation path work, I think that
Right, so,
that may need to be addressed, yeah.
So we talked in the meeting about moving that third pump over to where the shed is.
how do you get out of that pump? You're saying,
Not exactly where the shed is. I mean, to where
Okay.
it's this way, up and down.
Okay.
So, yeah, so the
Come
cars,
in?
exactly. So,
but then it blocks the driveway.
well, I'm just giving you another option of if there was a way to make that function or work, it's just something,
And there's no way that you guys could get the gas pump straight in a row there.
No, there's not enough room for the separation that you.
No, I'm just thinking outside the box.
All the cars. Over here, by doing this, you need 12 feet on one side, 3 feet for the island, 12 feet for the other pump, so
And you
you're
couldn't
30 feet.
you couldn't do-
You're going to block the.
3 where you're at now, right? 3, and the way it's is now, just having 3, that's not possible? either?
No, it's not long enough with this because of the tank field.
Oh, okay.
I just have a thought as we're talking about these movements, right, everybody having to queue up into the same line. I guess my concern is you've got 6 fueling positions, but if you pull in from Route 9 or Old Hopewell, you orient yourself so that you're ready to enter one of those pumping positions. You don't know which of the 6 is going to leave first, or the 3, depending on which side your fuel is on, right? So if I'm the driver, I'm not pulling up behind one of the cars at a fueling position.
You pull it at first.
At the first one, waiting to see which of the next cars is going to move. And my concern is that that is going to exacerbate the queuing issues that are already observed by the planning board at the Route 9 entrance, and the conflict with that queuing position and people entering from Old Hopewell having to then pull around and try to join that one line.
You'd have to merge.
Yeah, basically, if there's 3 cars waiting, they're going to be on Route 9,
Yeah.
the last one.
And don't forget,
And you're sharing them, right? You're zippering with anybody who comes in off of Old Hopewell.
yeah, and then you pay attention to that. So that little person pulling in off of Old Hopewell, probably
Yes.
realizing there's 3 queued up, those people are queued up waiting, they're gonna see that, and they're gonna make sure that person doesn't get in, or else there's gonna be an argument, which happens frequently.
And if there's 2 or 3 cars queued up in the Old Hopewell side, you're obstructing those parking spaces. And if you keep queuing up, you're obstructing, as you're talking about, the exit onto Old Hopewell, if that's still included.
Yep.
The path of a vehicle from Old Hopewell doesn't really change whether there's a tanker truck or not, does it?
It doesn't. It makes the turn into that southernmost position a little easier, right? So you potentially wouldn't have to do a three-point turn, but you're still coming down across the parking lot to join sort of the communal line on the west side.
Enough room to make this work.
If I could ask, what's driving the addition of the pumps? Is it to resolve the traffic issue? Is it to sell more gas? It seems even with what you have here, it's going to probably diminish access to a convenience store. With the extra pump, I have to think that you're going to be attracting more customers. It's not just going to be, alleviating the issues, but you're going to be attracting more customers with the extra pump. So what's actually driving this from the business perspective?
Driving it from the business proposition is to alleviate the queuing.
Well, you could alleviate queuing with reorienting these and not adding a pump, right?
No. How are you going to reorient two dispensers? You're still going to have two dispensers.
I'm not the proposer here. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
if your primary goal is to address the queuing issues, if you stick with the two pumping stations, what kind of scenarios would make this work better?
I think having the third dispenser, having two more fueling positions so people can get in and out, to me, sounds like it's, going to have people moving in and out quicker, and there's going to be less queuing versus having the same amount of pumps and the same amount of cars.
Well, I think there's been a number of issues raised here with the way this queuing is set up.
Well, like I mentioned initially, it's not a perfect world out there today. Okay, we saw tons of cars doing three-point turns and stuff like this, okay? What we feel, and through my 35 years of being in the gasoline station business, okay, that this is going to, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it's in the long run, it's going to help move cars, it's going to help stop the queuing, and, it's going to be better than what's out there right now.
There's some questions here that it may exacerbate the issues. So I don't speak for myself. I don't find what you've said and proposed as a compelling rationale to do this, if in fact the goal is to alleviate the queuing.
I don't think you realize how, that station loses a lot of business by people driving through, which is, I know you say you feel it's a convenience thing, and it is, but even though you add the extra two pumps, and yeah, it does probably alleviate the queuing, what you're gonna get is the added sales of the people that are like, it's not that long now, and they'll queue up just as long.
Queue up and it works.
Yeah, it works for sales, it does a great job for that, but it doesn't resolve the queuing issue, because it just.
If there's queuing here and people can see it from all directions, then they're not going to try to come in if the queues are long. If I don't agree necessarily with who said that everybody's going to wait here to see which one of these opens up. I think
That's what
at
they
least
do now.
that's not what I saw this afternoon. They do what they can to get around to orient themselves so they can get into the open space. But you're talking about the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th car.
Yeah, but
on this scenario,
they're not going to be able to maneuver around the parking lot to get into the open space.
No, they're going to have to commit to number 1, number 3, or number 5, number 2, 4, or 6.
Or they're
on the side of their
not going to commit, and they're going to wait in
until the guy behind them beeps him and says, "Move along, because I got to get in there too."
Well, that then leads to the conflict issue, the fights in the parking lot, which are already happening. Yes.
Well, should I continue to go through some of these?
Come up with a better plan.
So this is showing the vehicle entering northbound US 9, coming in and taking the farthest north position, and then when they have to leave, they have to sort of do a little bit of a maneuver to get out. They could either pull up this way and do a little K-turn in here away from the drive aisle and finish their turn. I just showed it this way, that they're turning first they're coming out to make themselves make a sweeping turn. But either way, it can be done from that location.
I don't know. It's a tough,
That's tough.
Number 4 shows that the ADA parking space is accessible even when the tanker truck is there. Somebody can pull into that parking spot, and they can pull out of that parking spot and maneuver their way around the site to exit. And then the last one, number 5, is the tanker truck entering from 1 and 9. It takes up both lanes of traffic, so it's got to do that where it sort of hogs both lanes or straddles the lane and makes that turn to come in. Right now, it does that maneuver to back out of its spot to be able to get through the site, to be able to leave. So we're showing that movement through there.
so,
Also, I'm sorry, Lee, so coming in, our trucks come in off of Old Hopewell, and you,
So, right, I'm sorry. So they come from, I guess it's westbound Old Hopewell Road, the left turn. The way the signal is timed, I believe this direction goes first, then eastbound goes first on Old Hopewell, then westbound. So westbound gets to go, they get their left arrow. Everybody on northbound 9 is stopped, so they have use of both lanes. And then when they leave, they wait for that same phase to occur, and when traffic, before they switch back and forth to this phase, there's a big gap in time for them to be able to make that right turn out and use both lanes.
Can I ask a question? What is on the south side of that building, in that grassy area there?
That's a hill that goes back up to with Old Hopewell Road.
So,
Pretty steep.
one of my biggest concerns is that living off of Old Hopewell is that over the last 5 years, I have seen that back up farther, and not to the gas station.
Yeah, Old Hopewell Road.
Oh, yeah. It is really bad, and we don't have the greatest of a situation there coming on down that hill, into a massive intersection, okay? So what I'm trying to relieve is Old Hopewell not becoming even worse than it already is. What about utilizing that area there for a turn lane higher up into
An entrance.
into maybe even having a couple of spots along that side of the building, but at least it gives it a lot of time for people to pull into that gas station and not back it up more towards the bottom. And maybe adding the parking lots to the side there, you can kill some parking lots towards the bottom and have flexibility to put a third pump there or something. I don't know, I'm just like trying to...
It's very steep in this spot, in this area. So to pull in, to make that right turn, like you're saying, like almost a little dedicated, almost a little slip ramp to get into the site, I don't know that the county would allow us to do that. And I don't think with the steepness and the type of use that we're looking at, this is a typical driveway, right in, right out. You got the divider on Old Hopewell Road. You can't make a left in, you can't make a left out. So that's the movement there. Again, this conflicting movement of people coming in, people coming back out, that crisscrossing there, the amount of times that would happen in an hour, I've got to believe is a low number based on just volume in and out of this driveway. The majority, I think, is coming in from 9 and going back out to 9, because again, it's a convenience use, and there's way more traffic coming this way than there is coming westbound on Old Hopewell.
But if it does happen, how are those people that can't get to the west side of those, what do they do if they're stuck up on the east side of those?
They're stuck up here?
Yep.
They're stuck up here?
And then what happens?
I mean, they're doing it today. They're coming down and they're...
They can't get down there, I'm saying, if it's queued up like even if it doesn't happen often.
Everybody wants to see this place work, and we're glad that we're kind of having conversations to make it work, but I think that just adding the pump is just dollar for dollar, it's just better for business, and it's not alleviating any of the traffic issues.
There is no other way to orient another pair of fueling positions. This is the way it has to be done
Unless
to make it fit.
tanks, which now you're talking money.
Well, no, so if I moved, say this was a brand-new site, I think I still would have oriented it this way.
Because it's...
Even if they
the tanks,
stretched
even
it
if you
back.
move it, it's the truck. The truck is there for a set period of time, offloading fuel. Yeah, that's a minimum, I think that's a minimal amount of time, a couple of times a week at the most. But I think the other concerns, I think everybody's got a lot more concern with the circulation path.
Yeah.
With or without the truck. I mean, it makes it a lot worse with the truck there, but I
Well, I'm
think
just-
even without the truck, I think the circulation path, there's so much crossing over, you're just going to end up with, people staring at each other if they're trying to get back to, Old Hopewell to get out of there. It's-
That would be happening today.
Right.
And I don't know that there's been a crash history inside with
Well, at
people.
least today, you could pull in, and then you could enter one of those fueling stations from either side, and you can drive around,
Yeah, if you had two pumps oriented how they are now without the third one on the north side, and you had no exiting onto Old Hopewell anymore, that would solve a lot of problems.
It does seem like the Old Hopewell is.
Yeah. The exit onto Old Hopewell is what messes everything up.
I mean, that's sure,
But I mean, the people that are making the right turn out of here, they're in that right turn only lane, so they're ended up back on 9. They have to try to get over a lane during peak.
That's the problem
Right.
there, is that most of the time, I'm going south. So
you're trying to make the left turn,
I am the one trying to get across
backs
to the
them up
other
big
side.
time.
Yeah.
and that's in the morning or the afternoon?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
You go the same direction all the time? I'm not-
Constantly, Tractor Supply twice a day sometimes.
And you go from
I don't-
home to that and back?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't catch it on the way back?
But when I'm going in, right, I'm gassing,
Right.
I'm looping back around.
Right.
Right, and then I'm going out, going
Right.
across the other lane, then going south.
Right.
If you force them all onto Route 9 north, then just make the U-turn 100 yards up the road.
Yeah.
Correct, correct.
On Route 9.
Right.
All the time, get back to our office and home.
And then if you only had two pumps, they could actually
And you're
get out
forcing them
that
to
way.
go to a one-way.
And your truck can get out without clipping the nose of a Suburban that's in that last stall.
But the convenience people, like you still have to have two-way circulation for the convenience people.
Well, you said earlier, it's a convenience thing, so if they go to the gas station, they go to the gas station.
But so is gas. Gas is the other convenience, that I'm going to get it, when I'm going this way. I'm not going to get it when I'm going this way, right? I don't want to do that diversion move, especially during peak hour. If it's the middle of the day and there's nothing going on the way back from Tractor Supply, you might want to do it. But in the morning, if I'm going this way in the morning, no, I'm not going to do
just have to
that.
use that gas station.
I'm going to wait until I come home at night and do it where it's a right in, right out. Same with this direction. I'm going to get this and get out, and whether it's get back across or just continue on 1 and 9 northbound.
Getting out onto Old Hopewell is where
It's
half the problem
right, it seems like a lot of the discussion that's been had tonight is a lot of it stems around that Old Hopewell exit at this point.
I think it also, maintaining the exit onto Old Hopewell conflicts with the idea that you're trying to create, that this is a one-way parking lot, right? Everything about the gas is directed onto northbound Route 9. And so all of the parking space, those 5 parking spaces up here, if I'm parked in one of those and I'm trying to back up, and then I'm conflicting with all of the other movements in that parking lot in order to try to exit onto Old Hopewell.
I can back out of these 5 spots, even if I had to do this to go out.
You've got the clearance, you've just got a lot of opposing traffic that are all.
These cars are stopped to get fuel. When I look in my rearview mirror, I turn around, and if I see this car moving, I wait. The next car pulls up, and now I know I've got the ability to back out of
Fueling truck is there, I just don't do it, right?
20 minutes. 20 minutes.
And if there are people coming in off of Old Hopewell, you're crossing paths with them at the exit.
And they're doing that today.
Yeah,
And
but we're not really talking about what they're doing there today, we're talking about what you're
It's not
proposing.
one way inside the site like you have it today.
Yeah, you can navigate around the site, there's only 2 pumps. You're trying to add 2
think with
pumps to a tight parking lot.
Yeah, but I think with the islands, kind of straight, or perpendicular, or parallel to the building, I think you have a lot more room to circulate around.
It's less-
Now you're putting everything on an angle, you're actually making that, kind of a little,
I still don't even see, we haven't even talked about that last spot there. There's some people that can't even drive straight, let alone
Yeah, that's
trying to
my
figure out a
biggest
way how to
issue.
get to that last spot.
Yeah, well,
That's,
it's a very,
This maneuver?
very hard.
On number 3? I mean, this is, like I said, this person can either head into this and do a little bit of a maneuver to get back out. I chose to draw it this way, where they come up and then make one sweeping turn out.
And remember,
And you're adjusting this curb.
all these plans and
All these examples that are being shown are worst-case scenarios.
I understand how you're saying that that's such a simple move. I proposed the third pump on the other side there, and you made it seem like it was the most impossible thing to do. Because really, you're just pulling out and making a very simple move to the other side.
But you're putting, okay, so this is the path of the car that's getting fuel at this pump.
Yeah, but now you-
And then there's another one in front of it, but now you've blocked the exit.
No, the third pump will be over there.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, this is the path of the most northerly
That pump will
fueling.
be there.
No, but the driveway's here. To get out, you're blocking half the driveway with two cars getting fueling position here. Right? You've got two cars with an island.
Say you were going to delete the curb there for this move?
No, we just pushed this back a little bit but I'm talking about the actual opening of the driveway in the site to get out of the site.
Sure.
If you've got two cars positioned here on either side of, let's say, half of that shed becomes the,
It wouldn't be that far down, the pump would be up more. I mean, that would be ridiculous, putting the pump all the way at the bottom.
There's just not room for 3 pumps.
Yeah.
We got to just come to that
Well,
conclusion.
all right, so here's what we do.
Yeah, we can-
Because, I mean, obviously, the 7 of us are not traffic engineers, right?
No, we're not.
Okay, all right. But we have a planner who works with other people in his office. You have a traffic, a separate traffic department, correct? Why don't we have somebody from your traffic department review this and give the board some kind of, insight into this? All the items, I mean, obviously tonight, we've had a lot of discussion on this. So why don't we have somebody from your office take a look at, all the stuff that we've discussed this evening against this plan and give us some recommendations, pros and cons, whatever it is, to help us make a more educated decision here tonight.
Sure.
From, everything, involving, like I said, the circulation issues and, the possibility, does it make sense to, close the one exit and just have one exit off the site? Because that's the other thing that keeps getting brought up. So why don't we do that? I think that's going to be, the answer tonight. I don't see us going anywhere. So if we do that, I think we're going to have to get that put together, and then we'll revisit the traffic issue another day. All right? I think that's what, at least I'm hoping that's what the rest of the board feels.
Yes,
absolutely.
I
Okay.
agree. I'd like that northernmost pump looked at, that circulation around that pump.
Yep. Okay. All right. So Malcolm, I mean, between, obviously it's on video, so, he can definitely hear all the discussion from, from both, both us and the applicant, and, he can provide us something to work from. So with that, the other items we had on tonight, that obviously the lighting issue is not an issue. That's stuff that you can easily take care of. What else do we have on here this evening? I think that was basis of the planner's letter. Christian, I don't think there was anything really to add, correct? Off of your
All of our
letter?
comments were nuts and bolts type thing, so.
Yes, yeah, understood.
The only thing that was kind of left open was relative to the canopy and whether the extension of the canopy by making it larger, would that create the need for a variance? Because it doesn't meet the setback right now. You're not moving it any closer, but you're making it longer, so.
Yeah, I'd have to see the measurements,
Right.
but probably will
So-
require a variance.
That was just one of the items in our letter, though, so.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, other than that, I don't know what else we could really discuss tonight. Is there anything else that you want to bring up?
No, that's about everything I talked about, and we'll just wait to hear from the traffic
The traffic
consultant.
consultant, yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be the safest thing for us at this point, because I don't think that again, I think everybody's got a lot of different ideas. Again, we're not experts in the field. I mean, we do know what the current conditions are, because there are a lot of us that do go to this gas station from time to time, some more than others. But I think this is the best bet, is to go this direction. I think it'll probably give us a better outcome at the end of the day.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So with that, our next item on the agenda this evening is a discussion regarding the Old State Road amended site plan.
I'm Brian Stacosta, Danes Stacosta Engineering. How are you guys?
All right, good.
So we're here tonight to discuss the site plan. I think Christian and the highway supervisor were out to the site and took a look at it. I think from a drainage standpoint, your office and the highway was satisfied with what they saw out there on site. Specific to the landscaping, we've shown some additional screening along the front and along the rear gravel parking area. Again, the reason for the asphalt was obviously an error by the applicant, but with an understanding that he did have some water intrusion issues with the foundations on site, and the asphalt's actually helping keeping some of the water out of those basement areas and keeping them dry. So we did provide two additional lighting locations revised from the original amended plan. One to be building mounted, and the other one is behind the gravel striped area.
Okay. You didn't happen to bring the previously approved plan, did you?
I don't have that with me, just this one.
Huh? Yeah, okay, just what's currently there versus what you're proposing.
Right.
Okay. All right. I know that there was a bunch of us that went out there, we did take a look at it. I think there was a bunch of comments, one of which I think was also just, possibly to open up some of the blacktop in front of the north section of the house closer to Old State Road. To try to get in some plantings and stuff there to kind of buffer that look of the building.
Along the front?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's where we show the 6 planters, that area.
No, the north side where the AC unit is?
Yeah, I think you have planters, but I mean, again, planters are only as good as somebody maintaining them. I mean, if you could do, a better landscape, I think if you put something there, it's a little larger.
As far as area goes, were we thinking like just a linear along the building front, like a 5-foot swath of asphalt to be cut? I mean, what was the board's thinking while they were looking at that section?
Yeah, I mean, there's something there. I mean, somewhere the cars are gonna, they pull up to, gives it a break between there and the building, but at the same time gives the building, you could be able to put something there so when you're pulling in, it kind of buffers the equipment that's sitting there, so you're not just seeing that and kind of, soften the building a little bit too, in the approach when you're coming in. Again, it's mostly a residential neighborhood, so.
Gabe Vega. So just for that saw cut area, would it be like 2 foot by the length of the building, or what would be your suggestion?
Depending upon what they feel would be, a good size area for something to survive there. Depending upon the size of the plants, 2 foot, 3 foot, could be bigger. I don't know. It depends.
Well, like 3 foot would allow you to cover up the AC unit that's there, and
just
put curbs in front so people don't pull in and bump into the house.
I mean, I could understand leaving some of the blacktop from the building out just to get, so the water sheds away if the water was the issue, for doing this in the first place.
I think the applicant would be agreeable to that.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
and what about landscaping the south side, south of the buildings with some...
They were talking about the south side,
just
maybe.
getting like a lawn area.
Lawn area,
Yeah.
about 30 to 40 feet south.
Basically the south side of that same building.
From road to road.
It was like brush hog down when we saw it.
You have to grade it?
But
Throw the seat down.
Just get it to where you can get a lawnmower over it, kind of, so it looks like a lawn and kind of blends in with the neighborhood.
It's doable, I mean,
rather
some
than-
grass seed and
I mean, like our.
Yeah, because I see it's cut down now, but you're not going to cut it, you know, weekly or bi-weekly when it's in that condition, the ground, you know? Just smooth it up a little bit,
Just a little more residential look to the.
a little topsoil, some seed, see you later.
I think that's a good compromise.
Okay. Anything
How
else?
wide, about 40 feet?
I'd probably say from like that roadway to probably the end of that residential two-story house.
Wait,
No, I'm talking the width.
how far back are you going to go south? How far
How
south?
far south?
I mean, this 40 foot seems like it's been thrown out there, so.
40.
40
Yeah, 40 feet would be good, then at least it would look like a yard and not a
Looks like a
mess.
yard, yeah.
Yeah. All right, anything else that anybody want to?
Can you, have you changed the proposed lighting since the last time we reviewed this? I know that we had talked about dispersing the lighting a little bit, and I think the county had also echoed that. I know that
Put a different bulb in there.
Okay.
Just a dispersion, yeah.
But the location is the same?
Location
For the
is-
two pop, okay.
The other handicap ramp, are you going to still require that?
What was it?
Both, the front building on Old State Road was supposed to have a handicap ramp, and it does not, so I just want to know if you're waiving that.
For the handicap ramp?
So we had a handicap ramp. You can enter from the rear of the building. In our original.
Oh, for the-
Front entrance.
Yeah.
So we can get access from the rear of the building now with the way it's graded.
Okay, so we're not going to, so what are you trying to say, to
Well, it's
waive the?
approved to have one, and it doesn't, so I need you, if you're not going to require it, to waive it. So
For the second building you're talking
the
about?
building closest to Old State Road,
Yeah.
one closest to Sergeant Palmetier, has a handicap ramp.
Right. But I don't think, but there's no need for,
Well, the other building has a flat entrance on the back side, like in the middle between the two buildings.
Yeah.
Where that,
the cover, that patio.
that little
that covered
patio.
Covered area in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a flat entrance to get in there?
Yeah.
So then it's basically is a handicapped access? Okay.
I'm fine, I just want you to waive it.
Yeah, I'm fine,
so
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
no
they don't need a
longer
ramp, they don't
something
need a
on the
ramp
plan.
because they can make it at grade.
Okay.
So that's no issue there, I don't know, okay. But no, but they have the ramp to the other, which is that office space. All right.
I'm just looking at the things when I went out that were not correct from what you originally approved, like the dumpster. I just want you to approve what they've done so that when I go out, I'm not comparing it, and you're approving what they now
Right.
have. So the dumpster's different, it's more of a residential dumpster.
Is there an enclosure around that?
It is an enclosure, but what you approved was for like a commercial, small
They
dumpster,
went
and this
to-
one's small
Or they
for
went
like
to
little
those, they're
carton
using the
cans.
totes instead of the dumpster now.
Yeah, there's not a lot of.
Yeah, that, I don't think there was, I remember, I don't think any of us had an issue.
No.
Right,
I'm just bringing this up so when he comes
Yeah.
in with an as-built, it's good,
right,
The paperwork.
pretty much.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think
The
there's,
other thing I brought up that was brought to my attention was that we brought in gravel for some of that area.
for the
so-
parking spaces.
No, just for like in the front area,
Oh, the river rock in the
the
front?
river rock and
yeah.
things of that nature.
That's fine, right?
I don't have an issue with that. I don't know,
I looked at it.
I don't know if anybody else, the only thing was is that you'll also put some plantings within there as well. Right, okay. So as long as it shows, the plan shows some additional planting within that space, and it's just not a sea of, I think it was, nobody wanted to see a sea of rock. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, there's like
To
not.
be part of the,
Everybody plans.
yeah.
What about the heating or air conditioning unit facing Sergeant Palmetier? Is that now going to be landscaped, something
We
around?
talked about cutting that asphalt out, and
Okay.
putting landscape.
The one
He said he went up there and it didn't hunt.
Oh, yeah, we have screening around the lower one, too.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay. So there anything else, Barbara, that you
No, I
thought
think-
there was a discrepancy?
I think that's it.
Okay. All right, and board members have any other stuff you'd like to add or discuss? I think, I think we addressed I get the yard space, the yard space, we'll talk about planting out in the front and off onto the north side, over in here.
I think we addressed everything.
So
Yeah.
we're going to get a revised,
We're gonna get, they're gonna, submit a revised landscape plan, more or less showing everything that we've discussed tonight, that we can go ahead and review and approve, and we'll go from there.
We'll get Barbara something this week.
Okay?
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda this evening is an architectural review for Duncan at 1491 Route 9.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Yeah, so we're just due for a renovation to, comply to the, to update the store for the new image, the brand image, and purely just cosmetic, nothing really, nothing's really changing. Just updating the colors and the image, like I said, to the new image of the brand. Sorry, I don't have anything big on the board over here, but I think you guys all have copies.
Okay, I don't know.
It kind of looks like we only got half the plans here.
I know, I just want to raise one question I noticed when I was looking at this originally. It's just, I know you did submit some lighting that's going to be installed. There's I guess you have some LED strip lighting that's going to go in. Looks like it's going to go at the orange band over the, actually it'd be the street-facing side, the east side.
Yeah, it's just on the top side of that canopy.
So it'd be on top of the orange canopy?
Yeah, more or less where the corner is.
Okay, so with that, then that's obviously, that's going to shine downward?
It's more an uplight, so so where the canopy goes like this, I think the bar is right here where the corner is, and
it shines up.
It just illuminates the monolith.
Okay.
As an accent.
That becomes an issue.
Issue for what?
Because we don't allow any uplighting, it'll just be downward.
Can they move it to the top of the Duncan and shine down?
I'll ask the brand, I'll see what they, and at the end of the day, if you can't do it, then it saves me some money.
Tell them that,
It's not a me decision, it's the brand, it's all their standards. If you guys want to allow it, I'll push back to the brand.
Yeah, Malcolm, while you were away, I raised the question about the lighting. So the lighting is proposed, what they submitted was supposed to shine upward. I know.
That's all right.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what everybody's feeling is with terms of the architecturals itself. I mean, if you want to go forward with it without the lighting, I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the brand has their image.
Right, no, I know.
And they have their package, and, every municipality is different, so.
We had it back when, before you built the other store out on Myers Corners Road. That was the one, because I know there was some people, some of the board members then didn't want to look like a box. And
right.
They came back with, different revisions. Came back with a couple of different, designs that kind of more fit into the neighborhood over there.
Right.
Is it something you want to go back to them and say, listen, to revise the lighting plan? And
I'll see if there's anything they can do to have it, be a downlight as opposed to an uplight. If they don't, then we'll just scrap it.
Yeah, so I mean, with that, we could approve that, and then if you wanted to come back with a lighting plan maybe, or some type of thing afterwards for the lighting, we could do that. I don't know what the time constraint is right now on this project.
We're looking to do it probably around October, so.
By October.
A little bit of time, still need the CDs done and everything, so. The only thing with that drawing, though, the top front monolith got cut off a little bit, so the coping is charcoal, like the one on the side, but it's not represented in the drawing. That's the only difference.
Oh, the coping on the one
On the very top, yeah, it's charcoal instead of all white.
So it's more of a charcoal than it is a dark.
Right now, I think it's just basically white.
Oh,
It got cut
yeah,
off by the printer.
All right.
So it's like the one on the side. Just look at that one, it's the same thing.
What's everybody else's feeling?
Are we in a spot to have them do the resolution on this? If they just take care of that one strip line?
Architecturals, we usually don't do a resolution.
Oh, well, that's
No,
true,
you
yeah, I'm
approve
sorry.
it, but we have a
My bad.
question. The Dunkin' sign proposed on the north elevation and on the east elevation, and you're not on a corner, so you only get one sign in the front.
We have two now, though, or?
Do you?
I believe so. We're just changing the faces. We're not adding any signage.
You have a cup on the north side. It just has DD in it, and you have Dunkin' Donuts with the cup and drive-through facing the front, which is the east.
So it could be a sign, just not, you can't say Dunkin' on it?
Well, they'd have to waive it, or you'd have to get a variance.
So they're going to lose the cup and gain Dunkin'?
Well, they're showing it saying Dunkin'
Can I see that?
on the east side.
No, they're talking about.
Okay, I see.
This is the one side.
You only get one side unless you're...
They got Dunkin' on both sides. North and east.
It's possible that that was waived
This is the existing.
at the time.
This is at the east side.
But of course, now it's,
This is
the nature of it is changing, the size of it is changing, et cetera. It would have to be reviewed.
versus the.
So the sign that's not on the front face, this one, will either need a waiver from that or variance.
That would be replaced with that.
For that one, if I could,
So, Mr. Chen, over by the drive-through, you have the 3 panels. Do they have a picture on them?
currently, yes.
So I think back in the day, you did some waiving, because you didn't allow that on the one on 9D.
No, we have the panel there.
You do?
Yeah.
So the panels are like signage too, so I think there was some waivers back in the day. So I think it would be up to you, or if you don't want it, he can go for a variance to have, instead of the cup, the sign on the north side.
So you're replacing the cup with the sign? I don't see why.
If we're replacing the cup, the sign with the cup, then that's not a problem.
Okay, well, we're bringing it up now, so should you approve it, we don't want to have to come
Yeah.
back.
For me, anyway. He's the tough one.
No.
So what? All right, so the question now is everybody okay with that on the, that would be the north elevation?
Yeah.
Replacing the sign, or replacing the current cup with the Dunkin' sign?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's okay with that?
Yep.
All right, fine, so it's, so as long as everybody's okay, then I guess then we'll waive that. Beyond that, I mean, I think the only thing would be is just the lighting question.
The question is the sign illuminated?
Yeah, it's internally.
Internal illumination?
Yeah.
Which side, both, all the signs?
All the
Both
signs,
signs,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Which then might, at that point then, maybe it doesn't really require the lighting above then at that point.
Yeah, so I'm okay with getting rid of the uplights.
Just lose the uplighting. Just lose the
Lose the
uplighting.
uplighting and,
Saves them a few bucks, though,
I appreciate
if
it.
we make them do that.
all right.
Is there anything else we need to lose? While we're at it.
All right, so if everybody's okay with what's being proposed, then architecturally, if somebody wants to make a motion to approve what's been submitted minus the lighting
I'll make that motion.
and waive the
Sign.
sign requirement. Okay, who made the,
Oh.
Okay, so we got motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. All set. All right? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, have a good evening. All right. All right, so with that, we're down to the end of the agenda. Is there anything that anything that anybody else wants to discuss this evening?
Nope.
No? Okay, all right, seeing none, then,
Motion to adjourn?
okay. Motion's made, seconded, all in favor? Aye. All right.